Welcome back to the Driveway Beers podcast with Mike and Alex. As always, we appreciate you listening. Please rate us on all the podcast platforms. Like, subscribe, comment, share wherever else you're listening, and enjoy the show. All right, welcome back to Driveway Beers podcast. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share all the fun things. If you can, leave us a message. Want to thank MD Ravens for sending us a message on Twitter. In fact, because of that message, that's going to be today's topic, is going to be talking about travel baseball, regular baseball, rec softball, all the things, because we're coming up on the season. We're going to talk about some really nerdy shit too, probably with fields.
Yeah.
Because I'm new to it. Mike's not.
Yeah. I mean, you're newer to it. I'm still an idiot learning, but it'll be nice because anyone out there that has any advice, tips, guidance that you can provide that might help us or other people in baseball farming, as I call it. It's not gardening, it's farming. And
we want to thank Adam Chubbuck with Douglas Realty in Pasadena, Maryland. It's his website is tacmd.com. That's tacmd.com. His group name is Team Alpha Charlie. Shout out to all the ex-military or military out there. Adam is ex-Navy, retired from the Navy. His wife is actually still active duty. The real estate market's going to get tough out there. Actually, I had a conversation with him the other day about being a silent investor in some projects that another real estate agent friend of his is doing. So hopefully in the next few months, I'm going to try and see how that works out. Adam's a good dude. And look, we don't take advertising from businesses or people we don't know. Any advertiser we've had on here, we've known them personally. And we are looking for advertisers, but before we accept an advertiser, we go and we meet with the business owner. We go to the business. We check out the business as far as how we interact with it. So anytime that we endorse a business, you can be assured as a listener, and we take this very seriously in the fact that people do listen to us. They take our recommendations and they use them. And we're not going to just recommend a business or a person that we don't believe in or that we don't believe will do right by the people we're sending to them. Adam is going to 100% do right by any customer that he has. Even to the point where if he has to lose business, and any service provider that is willing to lose business because it's not in the best interest of the person coming to them, in my opinion, is probably the highest bar you can set for a service provider. It's kind of like a mechanic when you take your car to the mechanic because you heard a clunk and the mechanic says, look, there's nothing to fix here. I'm more likely to go back to that mechanic because they sent me away without a bill and my car was fine. So the next time my car is actually acting up, I will then take my car to them because they were upfront and honest with me in the first place. Adam is going to be the same way with you. And especially in this Pasadena, Maryland, Virginia area where it's going to get a little bit more uncertain as the layoffs come around. And it's not just the government laying off, it's private companies too. We know a few people that have lost their jobs, and I don't want to see anyone lose their jobs. But in the instances where that happens, if you have to sell your home, you don't want to sell it in a rush. Anyway, you want to go to Adam to sell your home. One, his marketing videos are probably head and shoulders above anyone else I've ever seen. He's got this one aerial shot that he puts on Instagram where it's a drone shot and then it also highlights the plot. So you see the entire breadth of the land. And around here in the Waterman communities where the lots are not all uniform, it's really helpful.
Yeah.
He's got a listing in Pasadena where he had the drone go up and it showed the house. Now, when you go put the drone up that high, you really don't know which property it is. So when he highlights the property map, it's really helpful. I've never really seen that before. So when you're selling your home, in my opinion, what kind of marketing goes into a property from a real estate agent rather than just listing it, to me is very important. And it gets more eyes on your property, especially for when people are buying on the internet. They want as much money or as much information as they can before they even get to the property. And if they know what the property lines are, especially in those tight communities, that's really helpful to know. And I know it sounds like a really minor thing, but in my opinion, as a buyer, when I see that, I'm like, oh, okay. It's more information for me. Because let's say I get there and it's like a triangle-shaped lot, and I don't want a triangle-shaped lot. At least now I didn't waste my time to go look at it, and I still not know what it is until closing, right? It's just more information for you to have. And he does really good interior. What's the word I'm looking for?
Like walkthrough?
Yes, tours, walkthrough. I couldn't think of the word. It's just a really nice walkthrough. Good video, high quality video. So when you're going to sell your home, go with someone like Adam. If it's not right for you to buy, he's not going to tell you to buy. If it's not right for you to sell, he's not going to tell you to sell. He will not turn you away, but he will let you know, look, now is not the time. To me, that's the sign of a really trustworthy service provider. And if you are going to sell your home, he's going to market it to the fullest, to the point where me, who I'm a kind of a picky buyer, when I see these things, I'm like, okay, I have all the information I need. And I wanted to see it. So go to tacmd.com, tacmd.com. Let Adam know you want to make an appointment, and go check him out. All right. We're going to talk about baseball, softball, and MD Ravens on Twitter. This is because of you. He let me know that these were some of his favorite episodes. Going to be a little more tame,
right?
In this one, a little more tame. No email campaigns will be sent out because of this one.
No firebrand preaching.
No. No one will be. Well, I'm not going to say no one will be mad. I mean, someone could be mad.
I mean, someone's always going to be mad about something.
Well, apparently, I make a lot of people mad. So it seems to be what I do right now. So across the country, well, maybe not in the South. They start a little bit earlier, but
yeah, they usually, like, I know the Florida kids, they'll start like playing like games in January, but it kind of shortens up on the tail end because it gets so hot come May and June that they don't want to keep playing. So they'll start early and end a little earlier, but there's still leagues down there that play in the summer. But I can't imagine playing on one of those turf fields in South Florida heat. Because the turf field just gets...
They get hot.
Ooh.
They get hot. Dude.
Yeah, I was on one... I go on one for a camp every summer. And it's a turf infield, natural grass outfield. And the turf infield is... Because it has that ground-up tire, that rubber. And, like, I feel the heat on my calves. Like, it's crazy. The rubber, like, melts into the sole of your shoes. Like, it's bad. Cooking out there.
Well, now, there was, like, a study or something where, like, the rubber stuff, if it gets in, like, cuts and stuff, it's, like, toxic. It's like, okay, whoa, hold up now. But, yeah.
And it's everywhere. Like, that stuff, when we play on a turf field, it's like going to the beach. You go to the beach and you throw the stuff from the beach in your car and there's sand everywhere. It's like that. So,
but I mean, as you could tell, I go to the beach quite often.
Yeah. I'm sure someone out there goes to the beach.
So it's funny. My wife is like, the occasions we do go to the beach, I won't really go more than like calf deep into the water. Mm-hmm. She's like, why don't you go more in the water? I have two reasons actually. One, because there's shit in there. Like not like real shit. I'm talking like animals we don't know about.
Yeah.
Listen here. The oceans are the one thing that we haven't really fully explored yet.
Yeah. We know more about space than we do the bottom of the oceans.
Yeah. And look, I'm not saying I'm gullible, but I am a little bit, and I might believe in the movies that have these, like, even in some of these like non-documentary movies, it's like, well, there could be a cargo-sized ship whale down there. I'm not going to be the asshole that finds out. All right? I'm not going to be the girl that got her arm bitten off by a shark.
Yeah.
I'm not going in that deep. I'm sorry. There's shit out there. I know. there's stuff on the surface that can fuck me up. Mm-hmm. I'm not testing it. Yeah. I'm not going in for the theory test. I'm sorry. I'm going to be safe. I'm going to let the land animals fuck me up instead. If I get mauled by a bear, I get mauled by a bear. But I'm also not going to the woods to go find the fucking bear.
Yeah.
Because you go in the woods, that's where the bear lives. It's like, okay, if the bear comes into my house and I shoot it, well, the bear fucked up, came into my domain.
Right.
But if I go into the forest and the bear fucks me up, that's my fault.
Yeah.
The bear goes. If I go in the ocean, that's where the sharks live, and the sharks can fuck me up.
And the thing about marine life, and this has nothing to do with baseball, but anyway.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
The thing about marine life is that those animals are so just optimized for their environment. Yeah. Like, you take, look at a fish. I'm like, yeah, okay, it's a dumb fish. But like, which is true, but when you look at it's like a tuna, how fast they are. Even catch a small bluefish, right? And it'll fight and it's pulling your rod's bending over. I can take an Olympic swimmer and like tie the rod, the line around their waist. I could probably reel them back in with relative ease compared to think about.
Hold up. I'm not going along with this theory. You think you're pulling Michael Phelps in?
I think anyone could pull him in.
My guy's 200-something pounds.
Yeah,
him thrashing around, you're going to pull him in
because he's not developing the same power that fish is.
I'm calling bullshit.
So you think that
it ain't going to be that easy,
right? So maybe we're talking hyperbole.
Okay, all right. Let's bring it back to reality.
But let's compare weight though. So let's say I had a 7-pound rockfish.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Versus which is a small rockfish, versus a 200-pound average dude swimmer.
Okay, so when Michael Phelps is out,
right? I'll even take a high school swimmer. Okay.
Oh my God.
You're probably, but you're not a fisherman, so you don't know about pulling fish in.
No, I know nothing about that.
Yeah. So you think you have this monster fish on there, and all of a sudden you pull this thing out, you're like, that fought like that? And that's how much power they develop in the water, because they're completely optimized for, they don't have arms and legs, like they can't do it. They're completely made for survival and moving fast through water. The greater point being, when you go in the ocean, you are really going into their domain. You are not equipped at all you're as equipped for going to the water as they are for being on land. So I understand your fear.
Listen, when you said high school swimmer, we both thought of the same kid.
Yeah.
You think Joe would let us try it out?
We should. We should have a test. But we need to find a fish to throw in there.
And then with Jill, it's like, okay, well, which kid do you really want to go with?
Yeah.
They both break records in the pool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't think you could rein either one of them in.
I think you probably could, especially with, okay, so let's use tackle.
Yeah.
Say they weigh 200 pounds, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to use heavy tackle. I'm going to use the same tackle on them that I would use to pull in a 200-pound fish.
I don't know, man.
A 200-pound tuna that swims in the water at 60 miles per hour?
No, hold on. Okay, that's different. Yeah. I do think the 200-pound tuna would put up more of a fight than a 200-pound human.
But I'm thinking that
I still think it would be tough.
No, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying relative ease. I'm saying easier than pulling in a 36-pound rockfish.
I mean, I think if I was the one pull, I don't think I could pull in either one. You know what I'm saying? But let's say it's an experienced fisherman, pole fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I think that... I don't know. I also don't know enough to speak on it, but I'm just picturing it in my head. 200 pounds is a big damn fish and a human.
Yeah. There's probably a nerd out there that figured out the amount of power that a swimmer develops in the water versus the amount of power that a fish develops in the water, and you could probably do it mathematically.
I don't think Jill's going to let us try this.
Come here, kid. I mean, we're not going to hook him in the mouth. We're going to tie it around his waist and pull him in.
See, I think the angle would probably be more realistic because it's got to come from an end, not a middle. Because when you hook a fish, it's in the mouth at the end of it.
Right.
So you got all the...
But then they pull against it. So that force, that tension on the line is still going, it's still linear.
Right. Unfortunately, with a human, I think it would probably cut off the circulation, make the foot amputatable at that point.
Well, no, you tie around a waist, like devise a little belt.
But see, wouldn't that would move the center of gravity, though, to the middle?
You're still, the force is still linear. I think you'd be all right. As long as you're not coming from an angle.
I still don't think she's going to let's try it. Maybe you should. You got
Yeah.
you got more of the
Proximity.
convincing personality. But me, I just come up. I don't know. I don't have that. I don't have that ability to convince someone, especially when it involves a kid.
No. So the oldest just turned 18, so I'll make a bet with him.
I don't. Convincing the kid isn't the problem.
I don't. Well, if he's
the
18,
mom.
it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. He's an adult now.
Yeah, I'm saying, look, dude, we're gonna have a race between you and a fish to see who can pull you in quicker. My money's on the fish.
Yeah, but then you run. Then you got to find a 200
The hard
pound
part's
fish.
finding the fish.
Then you got to find 200 pound. I mean, we're making it harder.
Yeah.
For ourselves. I mean, we got the young adult. We'll call it young adult, so he can sign papers. Not sign paper, whatever. They do have a boat.
Yeah,
I think they still have the boat.
they do.
I mean, in theory, this is a doable test. I don't think it's going to actually happen, though.
We just have to find the fish. The hard part's the fish.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to find the fish. There's no 200-pound fish in the bay. I don't think. I mean,
No.
again, I don't know.
Maybe
what's
down,
there.
maybe down on the Virginia side, down by like the the bridge tunnel.
Is there even such thing as a 200-pound tuna?
Your tunas are big.
I'm just going to type into the Google machine largest tuna caught.
And see how much a
Ooh, all right then. 1,496
Yeah.
pounds.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
There's a picture. Look at the picture of this dude.
I know.
That's massive.
And its entire body is a muscle. Like you cut that when you clean that fish, it's all muscle.
Girthy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's not reserving a lot of power for brain capacity.
Right. Well, the young adult we were talking about used to play baseball.
There's the segue right back into it.
There it is. Now we're back at
Well, and so the funny part is, so on my street, the house on the corner, baseball. The house next to us, baseball. Until high school, then they all went and focused on swimming. My house, 3 baseball players, and so it's like it must be something in the water, right? So then you've got the across caddy corner from them, the family that has like the Corvette and the conversion van and them. That
yeah. I know who you're talking about.
that kid's older, but he was a baseball player.
Oh.
There's another family up here. They were varsity baseball players, but they're more in the same age as that other kid on the corner. So like, just baseball everywhere. So there's something in the water.
Did you already say the ones on the corner of your street? Mm-hmm. Because he was baseball, right?
Yeah. He played varsity, and now he's playing college. So
Is he really?
yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. Well, his school doesn't have a varsity team; it has a baseball club.
No, sure.
Kind of like schools don't have hockey teams; I have a hockey.
Yeah.
So it's still a decent level to play at.
Club sports are the way to go. Not that I regret playing, but the guys who played the club sports had so much more fun.
Oh yeah,
And they were still competitive,
yeah,
but they had way more fun.
yeah. Yeah, having played at the like NCAA level, like varsity level, and the club,
Yeah.
club hockey was a lot more fun than football, than NCAA football. I can say that for a fact.
One of these days, we'll get into that. Like another couple months or so, we'll get into that experience because we both played NCAA sports. I think I hated mine more than you, but I don't know.
I hated mine quite a bit. That's why I stopped doing it.
Well, I mean, and that's like the untold portion of it. Mm-hmm. Are kids that go and they just have a horrible experience.
Yeah.
And the funny part, even with like the whole transfer portal, I never would have transferred. Too much effort.
Yeah, I transferred to get away from it.
Right.
When I transferred from schools, I specifically was looking for schools without football teams.
Right.
So
Yeah. I mean, but you also transferred for a different. I mean, you transferred for a different reason.
Yeah.
It wasn't just that.
oh no.
But for me, like I couldn't even imagine. Like it wasn't even a thought back then.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like basketball, you know what I mean? Like they transfer all the time, but before that, when we're talking about baseball, so you had an interesting, I want to say, experience this year because you still have 2 in rec. Mm-hmm. Although I think 1 is headed to travel.
Oh yeah,
because he's housing kids right now.
Yeah, he's a danger to them.
Yes, which I'm surprised they're letting him play with that age group because I saw him hit. It's not unfair. He's their age.
Yeah.
However,
he's just bigger.
But it's not even just that.
Yeah.
Like
because there's big kids that are big and uncoordinated.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say he's like super coordinated.
Yeah.
But he's coordinated.
He's coordinated enough.
But well, yeah, more than enough. Yeah. Like he's coordinated. Like and then add in, I don't know why I'm trying to find my words. He's a kid. Yeah. He's got good form on a lot of his stuff. So now you add in coordinated, good form, and massive compared to his peers.
Yeah.
That's a bad combo for someone getting hurt.
And let's throw
it's not him.
Yeah, and let's throw in a nice layer of youngest of 3 boys.
Yeah. So like if he gets hit, he's like, did a pea hit me?
Right. Oh, he smoked a ball at this little kid. It hit him right in the chest, and the kid starts crying. Oh. So I was like, and I look, everyone, of course, is concerned about the kid, but, I have my team that my son's on. So, gee, you okay? And he goes, should have caught it. Like, what? And I'm like, okay. And he gets right back in the box, like, okay, come on, let's go. Like, because that's how his brothers would have been.
Right.
Because they were, like, they dressed him up in catcher's gear. Now, his oldest brother is 6 years older than he is. So they have him dressed up in catcher's gear, and they're he's just throwing gas at him. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then it sounds different. I turn out, they've switched. The youngest one is still in catcher's gear, but the older 2 now have lacrosse sticks and are ripping lacrosse balls at him. And I'm like, and he's catching them. I'm like, okay. So there's some toughness and grit. Plus, he's been on a baseball field since he was an infant carrier.
Right.
He's never known a Saturday without being on a baseball field. So, of course, he's going to pick it up. But, yeah. And my middle son, has the potential to be really good. He just kind of is goofy and, but he's so strong. He doesn't have to have good form. He can just
Yeah, I would say seeing him play, he's probably less coordinated than most kids his age.
Yeah.
But he's also bigger.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where the coordination will eventually catch up maybe or not.
Yeah.
But I think you've also said baseball might be his second sport at some point in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
The first sport will come around eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. The first sport will involve a odd-shaped ball and pads, and he will never touch that ball unless he just falls on it.
Well, he could be a center.
Yeah. He could snap.
And then he's touching it every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the young. It's funny though. The older one, super coordinated, not very big. Mm-hmm. Middle one, not so coordinated, really big. The younger one it's like the fucking Goldilocks theory. It's right in the fucking middle.
Oh yeah.
Still big though.
Yep.
But not as big as the biggest one. Not yeah.
Yeah.
But he's got he's got coordination, but not as coordinated as the older one, but definitely more coordinated than the middle one. Mm-hmm. It's like the combination came together.
Yeah. and I don't want to go in because he's playing coach pitch, so it's kind of one of those things where is he getting a whole lot out of this? He could probably get more, but I don't want to be that douchey dad that's like, I need to find a 7U travel team. Like, no, I don't need to find a 7U travel team.
No.
The next level that he moves up is this. They only do it for a year. It's that kid coach pitch hybrid. It's painful. It's the worst year, and I considered moving him up to that this year, but then our friend with the league said, that means you have to do 2 years of that level. Then I was like, oh, because there's no way he can't play it on a travel team. Now, some places have 8U. We start at 9U here.
Right.
So, and I don't want to take him somewhere else and then bring him back. He could just.
So here's and for for a kid like that, at least with the coach pitch, he's going to get balls to hit.
Yeah.
Whereas with the kid pitch at that young age, it's walk,
hit by
walk.
pitch.
Yeah, it's not going to be good. Because he could probably skip this year into that, maybe next year he can skip out of that. So he never has to go into that.
Yeah.
I get why they do it. It's more for the pitching aspect.
Yeah.
And they do it, and for girls, that's more 8U. Mm-hmm. That's when that kind of comes. Yeah. It's like the half and half. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of walk.
Yeah.
And then when you get to 10U, because you had the girls pitch at 8U, and we do every 2 years, it gets better.
Yeah.
As long as a club develop pitchers. Mm-hmm. We're in a weird spot. So we develop pitchers. We developed about 7 of them. There's 3 teams. Mm-hmm. So they're all pretty evenly distributed too. Our girls are going to give the other teams plenty of balls to hit. Our girls aren't going to get shit to hit unless they also develop their pitchers.
Yeah.
Which I didn't think they did. Like me and this other lady she was our 18U travel coach with our club. She agreed to help develop pitchers that are younger. And so we took some 8Us and 10Us and 12Us, and we just offered it really low cost. And we ended up doing in the fall. We did them in the winter. It was 5 sessions. So it was like 5 sessions outside in the fall, 5 in the winter. Mm-hmm. And we're going to try and figure out something for the spring because I have a gripe with when our season starts this year.
Yeah.
The development, even just with 10 sessions, was enormous. Mm-hmm. I feel like, and the funny part, it's only going to benefit the other clubs, though.
Yeah.
Because they're going to get pitches to hit off of kids. Mm-hmm. Whereas our girls probably won't.
Yeah.
Now, we do have 2 or 3 of them, though, where they're not going to be able to touch them at this level. Could have made the case that they could have played up. The problem with softball is the 10U and 12U ball is different.
Yeah.
It gets bigger. And then you also move back 5 feet. So the ball gets bigger and you move back by 5 feet.
Baseball, you just move back. You don't.
The ball stays the same.
Yeah, it's the same ball. Like even a T-ball is the same size as, I mean, maybe not exactly. I think there's some variation. But like for the most part, if you took an amateur and said, here's a Major League Baseball. It's got the signature and the little emblem, everything on it, and here's a T-ball.
Yeah.
Just looking at them, they're going to look identical.
Right. Yeah, so when we were looking for girls to play up, your pitchers are generally your better players, but nobody wants the pitcher, especially if they're just getting the feel for it, to move up. Mm-hmm. It's a tough transition year. So they all stayed at 10U. So now it's like you got I'd say you got 3 powerhouse pitchers at 10U, 1 on each team. Another 3 that are really good, probably not throwing as much gas, but don't run. None of them are travel ball pitchers. Those girls are a different animal. Yeah, I saw that shit. I'm not stepping in that shit. But for rec, they're probably tweeners. Mm-hmm. Like could they play travel ball? Yeah, they'll be like the 2nd or 3rd pitcher on a travel ball squad, but they're number 1 on a rec squad. And that's why I think some of these girls don't be in such a rush to go to travel. Because if you're the 3rd pitcher on a travel squad, you're not pitching that much.
Right.
So really your development kind of gets hampered a bit.
And softball pitchers stay in the game a lot longer, right?
They do, yeah.
It's not as much stress on the arm to throw underhand.
No, you can get through a whole tournament. Let's say it's 4 games, 3 games on a Saturday, at least 1 on a Sunday. You can get by with 2 pitchers. Some teams do it with 1.
Yeah, see, baseball, I can't get through a game on 3 pitchers.
Yeah. And the 3rd pitcher is very rarely used. Mm-hmm. To the point where even at high school, they use 2, maybe 3 pitchers in high school.
Right.
That's it. Like one of our friends, her kid made the team. She would have been like the 4th varsity pitcher. or the second JV pitcher. So she plays JV.
Yeah.
So she can actually get reps. I mean, the only way to get better is to actually do the thing, right?
Right.
And don't get me wrong, as much as practice is great, because they practice every day, but it's like, it's different when it's in a game. You got to have some game action.
Yeah.
And so if you're not getting game action, on a weekly basis, it's tough. I mean, it's hard to get better that way.
Yeah. I think people lose that is they just want to be able to brag that, hey, my girl plays travel. My girl's a varsity. My boy's a varsity pitcher. Okay. I'd rather have the kid playing on the JV squad than sitting on the varsity team just so I can brag that he's on the varsity team.
And we see that in travel ball all the time. Because a lot of these places, they have their A's, their B's, and their C squads. And I've always said, if your kid is on a C squad travel ball, put him back in rec. Now, some people say, look, if they play better competition, they'll get better themselves. And I understand that. I don't know if the competition at C is that much better than rec. Is it better? Sure. Is it that much better? I don't think so. And it is a bit of a money grab at that point.
Well, I think some of those. So hockey was a great example. When I was coming up, there was one AA team. It was Little Caps. That was the one. I think Tri-City Eagles may have played around with going AA, but it was AA, A, and B. That was travel. Now I look at these and they're like, "Oh, this is AAA." I'm like, AAA compared to what? Because 30 years ago that was an A team and a B team. Now they're all AAA, AA. I'm like, okay, are you guys just... One of the local hockey programs here doesn't even have an in-house league. They just have all travel teams. Well, if everyone did that, aren't all these C teams really just house league teams playing each other?
Yeah.
And then you lose the fact that those kids... You might have a family that can't play. They can afford a house league and just play. We're going to practice once a week and play one game a week. Everything's going to be right here at this rink. You're not traveling all over the place. They can afford that, but they can't afford overnight stays in Toronto and airfare and all this ridiculous nonsense. So that kid is essentially priced out of the sport.
Right.
And you see it with these pay-to-play organizations all over the place. And the pay-to-play organizations, like, say the baseball or softball team has 12 kids on it. Excuse me. It has 12 kids on it. The 13th kid comes along, oh, you're cut. But if that 13th kid goes and finds 12 more players, they'll make another team and charge them all the same amount of money. So essentially now you've just pulled all those people with money out of rec to play on this travel thing at the expense of the other kids who are now in the rec program or house program facing even more watered down competition. So it's a problem because you're taking kids that don't have the money, that might have the talent. It's really bad in soccer because there's all these pay-to-play fancy club soccer teams, but then you have people who are recently immigrated from Latin America or West Africa that are stud soccer players that, unless they're just found, aren't going to play. So it's just the rich kids with money playing over here. Meanwhile, the kid that's really has the talent and the ability isn't even touching the sport because they can't afford to. So, and then if they play in a house program, it's like they're the absolute monster. Well, they're not getting better that way.
Right. I feel like they're... Not that it's a scam. I don't want to say it's a complete scam. Because, yes, there are some kids that need to be playing against better competition that rec leagues can't provide. Right?
Yeah.
And you're right, though. Unless you can afford it, you can't do it. But then you're right. Then there are the parents that are willing to pay for it that can, just to say, my kid plays travel.
Yeah. Or you have the parent that their kid doesn't make it, and they go start their own travel team.
Right.
And it's all the other kids. Who goes to that team? It's all the other kids that didn't make it, who should probably be playing in rec. You can and maybe get like, okay. So, and we did this with my oldest. This is his first year playing travel, and he kept getting better and better, but not quite there. And then I think I kind of kicked myself because a couple years ago, I got an email from a coach, hey, bring him back out for a second tryout. And then a phone call and some other stuff. And he wanted to do it. Then all of a sudden he wakes up on the morning of the tryout and decides he doesn't want to go. Well, I'm like, I'm not going to drag you to the tryout. I probably should have, because he would have made that team and been a cup. But you know what? He moved up. Then he showed that he wanted to do it. So he started getting him some private lessons and stuff like that just to work on his hitting. And he got better. He made a team. Meanwhile, but playing in rec, and it's kind of a shock to his system because he was one of, if not the best player last season in rec every game. Now he's kind of like, yeah, he's all right, which is fine. You're progressing. That's the way it should be. But when he was down there playing with the rec kids, he's actually helping them get better too, because now I can't just throw lobs over the plate because he's gonna get a hold of it. I got to actually move this ball around a little bit. Or the fielder, it's not just some easy little grounder. Like, no, the kid has to move to field that ball. So having those bubble kids playing the lower level while they're developing makes the kids in the lower level better and creates more bubble kids. But if you don't do that, if everything's just travel, then you just have shitty travel teams at the bottom and rec that's, which end of the bat do I hold?
Yeah, and then you got, so let's say the travel team let's say they carry 16 kids. Kids 14, 15, 16 probably aren't playing as much.
Yeah.
Because they don't have playing rules. Now, our club's different. Although I don't think the travel clubs are. Like with rec and like the tournament teams, which are not travel teams, every kid has to play half the game.
Yeah.
In the travel squads, they don't have to. I think most coaches try and play the kids at least one at bat.
Yeah.
I don't know if they all do. I don't really know. I don't know if it's purely if you're better, you play. If you're not, you don't. And basically the 14, 15, 16 kids basically just are there for practice. I think for those kids, though, yes, you get to say you're on a travel squad. Is your kid getting better just by practicing with kids that are better? I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're not getting game experience. And I think it's hard to replicate game experience. At the very least, if you're the 14th, 15th, 16th kid, let's say you get put in late as a pinch hitter. If you haven't been at the plate that much, these are not adults. These are not professional players. There's no professional pinch hitter when you're 12.
Yeah.
There is a level of nerves. Because you're like, okay, if I get a hit here, maybe I'll get to play some more. But if I don't get a hit here, I'm never going to see this field again.
Yeah.
And kids do think about this shit.
Oh, sure. Then they start gripping the bat tight,
Yeah.
and they're too nervous, and they don't perform.
Yeah.
And another thing with practice reps versus game reps, if I'm sitting there hitting fungos to the kids on my rec team, right, I can pretty much put that ball wherever I want it, whether I'm using the fungo racket or a bat. I'm putting that ball where I want it. So, and you're kind of moving around, right? You're saying, okay, so you have a couple kids at third, short, second, first, and you're rotating them through, and you're just kind of moving down, a couple balls to third, couple balls to short, throw some double plays, whatever situation you want to develop. But it's controlled. In the game, you might stand there and watch three kids walk, just getting bored out of your skull. Then all of a sudden, that one good kid comes up and rips the ball down the third baseline, and you're daydreaming. So there is a lot of difference between, and having that experience to be able to fight through that, distractions, and granted, they're kids, so they're going to make little dirt sandcastles and stuff, and dig holes and chase butterflies around, whatever the little kids do. But when they get older and they're like, oh, God, and then finally, oh, crap, I got to wake up. It's like, you were a lacrosse goalie, I was an ice hockey goalie. Like, the worst games for me were the ones we were just destroying the other team, and I faced like 8 shots. It's boring. Yeah. And then finally, like, you do get that shot and you haven't moved in 10 minutes. All of a sudden, like, crap, I got to do.
Well, so in those games, when you're up like 11, 12, someone asked me, like, how did they even score on you? And the honest answer is, you fucking zoned out.
Yeah.
Because you weren't seeing shit the entire game.
Yep.
And, like, there was probably, like, you might have let in 1 goal on 5 shots, which numbers-wise is not horrible, right?
Yeah.
But, you're like that one that got in probably normally would never have gotten in.
No.
But because you were standing there the whole time, your feet, it feels like you're in cement.
Oh, yeah.
Because you didn't keep yourself loose. You were just standing there. Mm-hmm. You're listening. You're looking around because the ball's not even close to coming on your half of the field.
Do, like, what parties am I going to tonight? Like, what am I?
I mean, once you get to a certain level, your mental ability to keep yourself in the game while you're not in the game is hard.
Yeah.
And I remember we went one time. We went and played a community college. It was a scrimmage just to get out there and play, and I think it was like 20-1. And I still to this day remember the one that went in. And 99 times out of 100 I would have easily made that save. Mm-hmm. But I think by the time I figured out the ball was actually on the way to me was when the ball was in my quarter of the field, and I was like, "Oh shit, okay." And I hadn't positioned my defenders. I hadn't done anything.
Yeah,
I froze up, my mouth shut up, and I didn't direct anybody. So I had guys with their back to the ball, and they didn't know where the ball was. They didn't know when to go. They didn't know when to slide. They didn't know. The guy just walked in, shot an easy slow bouncer, and went between my legs.
5-hole.
One of my two defenders come over to me and they go, "What happened on that one?" I was like, I looked at him. I said, "Dude, I'll be honest with you, I fucking zoned out." and the funny thing was they looked at one of the guys looked at me. He pats me on the helmet and goes, "Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I got it."
Yeah, and then you go on the receiving end of that. Like it was my junior year of high school playing midgets, and we went up to Montreal. It was like hockey. A lot of times you go like the end of season tournament, and usually it happened around Easter. So we go to Montreal for this tournament. So we're up there playing Canadian teams. Like, you know, to us they're absolute studs. In Canada they were probably like house wreck teams. So we play this team from northern Quebec. They all spoke French. Like they're talking shit in French to us, and one of our coaches was actually grew up in Montreal, and he was calling them peppers. Like, what's a pepper? It's a derogatory term for the northern Quebecois up in the coal mining regions because they're all covered in coals. They look like salt and pepper, so they call them peppers. He's like, he's like, these fucking peppers, eh? So, and he's talking shit to the other coach in French, like it was wild.
It always sounds worse than French.
Yeah. So I let up 8 goals on 88 shots. Now in hockey, 8 goals that's a bad game. However,
on 88
shots, you're still at a above 90% save percentage.
Yeah.
So I loved it. Like I'm just getting drilled. Like the entire game was spent in our zone. The other kid across from me, my counterpart, we maybe put 12 shots on him, and he let up 4.
Right.
So he was on the and I felt bad for him, and you know, the handshake, like, you know, gave me a huge hug and pat, like, you know, great game in French, and I took French then, so I understood more, but it was like I felt bad for him because it was like, dude, that sucks being on that. I'd rather be the guy getting peppered than the guy just because then at some point everyone just feels bad for you, like, yeah, he let up 12 goals, but he got crushed, you know.
He doesn't have a non-purple part of his body at this point because he's got bruises all over. I remember one time I was playing against a future pro. Mm-hmm. Guy went on to play in the National Lacrosse League, played in the MLL too. But he was at this small D2 school at the time. They were transitioning to D1. Yeah. That's how we ended up playing them. The guy is fucking amazing. Like, he ended up being like one of the best players in the pro leagues.
Yeah.
Like, that's how good he was. He was a Canadian kid. Canadians had a harder time getting into the college game because only certain coaches knew to go to Canada to find these guys.
Yeah.
And they never knew how well the indoor game would relate to the outdoor game. But like guys like the U Albany coach Scott Marr figured it out. He had all the I can't remember their last name, but he had all the native guys from the Onondaga region.
Yeah.
that's not really the Canadian story, but they would also get Canadians too. But basically, the coaches that went and got the coaches that weren't in the top 20 that knew, they would go to like the reservations.
Oh yeah,
or they would go to Canada, and they would grab a couple kids. So this kid ends up in a transitioning school from D2 to D1. And dude, I remember it was raining out, and I was wearing glasses, so of course my glasses are fogging up and everything. But not that would have mattered. I remember it was probably like the second quarter, just before halftime. I go up to the coach. I was like, we got to do something about him. And he looks at me and goes, he's shooting from the top of the box. I was like, I know this. I can't stop it. Like, this is a kid that's probably I'm probably normally seeing 80-mile-an-hour shots. 80 to 85, maybe 75, 85, right?
Yeah.
The top level dudes are shooting at 100. That's where this guy was.
Yeah.
And I think I'm a sophomore at the time. And like he's whizzing them by my ear. And I'm like, I got it. I know. End of the second quarter, I'm fucking out.
Yeah.
Like, it's happened. Like, I was like, can we do something? Can we double him, give it to someone else? Make him give it to someone else.
Yeah.
He was just beating the double teams. At the end of the game, I think he was like playing with me. Like, he's like doing triple deeks in front of my face. I'm like, Broseph, come on. Enough. Like, they're up like 20-5 at this point. I'm like,
he scored 10 of them.
Yes. He did 100%. And so I ran into him later. Because he was, back then I lived in Albany, and there was an indoor team called the Albany Attack. And he was playing against them. And I was working for the team. I was doing like scorekeeping or something. So I was able to go in locker rooms and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I went, I was like, you probably don't remember me. I was like, but we played against each other in college. And he goes, what team? I told him what team. He goes, I remember you. I was like, that's probably not a good thing for me. He goes, no, man. He goes, I can't believe you guys didn't make any adjustments. I go, we did. You beat them too.
Yeah, you adjusted as well.
Yeah. And the worst part about it, he's like the coolest guy ever.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I was ready to hate you.
I want so desperately to not like you, but you're just so likable.
And he's such a nice guy.
You've just got dreamy eyes.
And it was just like, I was like, damn it. Fine, you're cool. But the worst part about it, the guys who are generally that much better than everyone else are generally the coolest guys because they don't have anything to be mad about because they're just whooping everyone's ass.
Right. It's like the dude's got the biggest dick on the block and he knows it, and everyone else does too. Yeah. So like, why hate on the dude? Right. Now the second guy might hate that guy, but like, you know, the rest of us, like just regular peons, are like, oh, dude's like cool. Like
he's Jan from the Brady Bunch, right? You know what I'm saying? He's not Marsha.
You're right.
And somehow we ended up here from talking about travel.
Yeah.
So I did. It's we got like 10 minutes left before we cut this one. The thing I wanted to talk about, and you've kind of talked about this in the past, was your oldest. So you talked about the oldest journey to get to the point where he was ready for travel ball. But then there was this year. I was surprised at how many tryouts he had.
Yeah.
And not because like I didn't think he could go and get on that many teams. I was surprised at the fact that it was necessary to go on that many tryouts just to find out where you fit.
Yeah, and so we had a list of, you know, where we wanted him to, you know, because we're also trying to navigate a family schedule too.
Right.
So we kind of had a radius of where we'd go and, you know, what the goal was. And then, you know, some of these teams like South River had 5 tryouts and he went to all 5 of them. He didn't have to, but he liked going there. And during the tryout, the coaches were actually coaching the kids.
Yeah.
So it was almost like, so each tryout was 2 hours long. We just got 10 hours of free baseball.
Right.
I think Severna Park had 2. He only went to one of those, and you had to go to both, but he wasn't vibe. He's like, I don't really feel this. Other teams, then he went to Crofton, Powell. He ended up making Crofton. So we made 2 teams, and we picked the one that was closer.
Right.
So, so that was cool that he made 2 of them. And it's funny because I told him, like, hey, you make a travel team, and I'll buy you whatever bat you want. He's like, well, I made 2. Do I get 2 bats? Like, no.
Come on, man.
Like, I'm not spending $800 on bats for you. So, it was nice that he set a goal. He made it. But when you're trying to break in, like, remember, a lot of these teams form at 9U.
Yeah.
And the core group of kids kind of stays with it. And then there are kids that come and go, and some fall out of the sport to play other things. Some go get in fights with coaches and go to different clubs. Some are like, hey, I'm really, really good. I'm going to go play for, one of these higher tier teams. So there is some, but there's not a lot of spots, especially once you get to 13U. These teams are kind of set. Like, he played well enough to make one of these teams, like, just look at it, but every kid came back. So they're like, we don't have any spots. So it's not he didn't make the team because he's not good enough.
Yeah.
We just don't have any room for him, which I get. But at the point, then why have a tryout? If you
Right.
know you're going to keep your kids and they're all coming back, why bother?
Because they're worried someone's going to leave and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
They're worried a spot will open up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have some of the wings. But again, like this coming, summer, I'm not taking to a bunch of tryouts yet, for nothing else. And I talked, when I talk to some like, legit baseball dudes, are like, oh yeah, we go to all kinds of tryouts. And it's just to go see what other teams are doing. Well, you get to know the coaches too
But you get the coaching too.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what are these people doing over here?
Yeah.
That we might not be doing.
Yep.
And like you said, worst case scenario, he's just having some fun on a baseball field. He's probably going to have more fun at the tryouts next year knowing that there is no pressure.
Yeah.
He's going to just go out and play. Mm-hmm. Even if there's no intention to go play for any of those teams. Let's say you guys love the team that you're on.
Yeah.
And we're going to stay here. But let's go, we'll go get some hits in.
Yeah.
We'll go get some fielding in.
Yep.
Or we'll see if this person knows something maybe we're not getting taught. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. So with my oldest daughter, and I've talked about this before, this is probably her last season of rec. Mm-hmm. We got to work on her fielding a little bit and her catching. Still doesn't have the full athletic coordination. But the one thing she does better than any rec player right now is hit. Mm-hmm. For an example, and this isn't just me. So yesterday was like the second practice, or not yet, a few days ago. I think it was Monday or Wednesday. I forgot which day it was. We're at practice and we're doing hitting off of pitching. And it was like you get 5 hits and then you run the bases type of deal.
Yeah.
Right. So she launches 4 into the outfield, like over the outfielder's head. Mm-hmm. Like we're getting to this point.
Yeah.
Like now they look like the moon balls.
Yeah.
Like just like when I'm saying she's hitting.
Yeah.
This isn't pretend hitting. This isn't hitting the ball hard in the infield and against the outfield. This is they're going to the outfield now.
Yeah.
Chances are, like I think we're going to go into, like when I say that, it's like she's hitting the ball and like the other parents sitting on the bench is like when she hits it, they're like, oh, you hear the audible noise. So it's not just me saying this. Like I hear I hear the reaction to the balls.
Yeah.
That's how you kind of figure it out. Like when other people when you hear other people mention when your kid hits the ball,
mm-hmm.
like when they gasp or when they're like, oh,
yeah.
And when they do, something's happening.
Mm-hmm. And you hear that ding.
Well, those composite bats, like,
yeah, Logan's bat's composite. It kind of has I almost want to go out and buy him a alloy bat
just to hear the
ding.
Yeah, I know. I know. Like the noise doesn't match where the ball goes anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she's hitting it, and she's still getting used to a heavier bat. Like, she's only swung this thing like 7-8 times.
Yeah.
So she's going to be hitting it further than she is now as soon as she's used to the weight. she's at the point now where she's hitting better than a rec kid. Fielding not so much, but in softball they basically can have a DH.
Yeah.
Like she can hit for a pitcher at this point. And so she'll get all her at bats, but she won't play in the field. Mm-hmm. She probably hits as good or better than a lot of the kids in travel right now. Now, when faster pitching, there's going to be an adjustment time for her to get used to the faster pitching, but she will adjust. The hitting is the one thing I have no doubt about. She will figure that shit out. So we're going to have to find a travel squad for her. Mm-hmm. At 14U, though.
Yeah.
Now, I was talking with our mutual baseball friend, mm-hmm. and he said that 12U and 14U isn't necessarily a bad age to kind of transition into it because a lot of kids will drop out of it.
Yeah.
They'll either figure out that baseball or softball isn't their sport and they're going to go full-time into their sport. So, mm-hmm. like, let's say you got a kid that does travel soccer and travel baseball. Well, travel soccer is their jam. Well, now that's year-round once you get to 12 or 14U. And that kid is now gone. Mm-hmm. And so these teams are now looking to fill spots to match up with their core.
Yeah.
If the core is still there. Now, some of those kids in the core, I mean, we know this. Some of the kids in the core, they don't want to play. They're out. Mm-hmm. They're better at another sport. They're out. I mean, the kids we were talking about that with the fishing experiment, they were quite good at baseball.
Oh, yeah.
And they were just like, we're going to go concentrate on the swimming thing. And it was a good decision for them. They're really good at swimming.
Yeah.
But they dropped out, mm-hmm. Because they were ready to go full time into that.
Yeah, like high school sports kind of focus you on one, and then also the baseball's after 12 you get to 13 you move from the 70-foot diamond to the 90-foot diamond.
Yep.
So there's that. That's a huge transition, and you watch the kids are like, whoa, like I put my 12-year-old out in the fall on this freaking 90-foot diamond. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's an MLB size field. I'm like, how can they they're so little,
Yeah.
And
they actually look smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got, also for baseball, the travel teams all go to Cooperstown after 12U.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the big capstone event. And after that, it's okay, we did Cooperstown, now we're out. And a lot of these teams have kids that once Cooperstown comes around, they go that, and then, so there's those other factors come in as well. We're like, we did our Cooperstown thing, and it's time to go focus on other stuff and, play other sports. And I was only seeing it. We were going to quit last year, but we wanted to do Cooperstown. So,
yeah. So I'll be interested to get your take after this season because this will be your first spring season.
Yeah, because fall
and travel.
Fall ball is kind of
more relaxed.
Yeah, it's like we did one tournament in the fall. We're doing 3 in the spring. So
at least it doesn't sound like it's a crazy team that does it every weekend.
And some of these teams, they're just tournaments. That's all they play. So every weekend, they're doing because I'll see them on the different baseball Facebook groups I'm on, looking for a player. We only do we're doing 8 tournaments. I'm like, 8 tournaments? And half of them are stay-away tournaments. Stay-away tournaments are fun. I think my memories from hockey I have memories from games, but most of the good stories I have to tell are from the hotel stays and the trips and that fun stuff.
Yeah. Oddly enough, the only travel sport I played was soccer. Mm-hmm. Go figure, right?
Yeah.
And then I grew out and up. And growing out in soccer
doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't help with the mobility.
Yeah.
And we did some rare overnights, and it was fun. It was a good time. I never did it. I never played travel for the sports that I played in college for.
Right.
Oddly enough, back then I don't know if I just grew up in a weird fucking Mayberry type place. Mm-hmm. Maybe as far as sports goes, where we didn't have travel for some of those, or maybe I just wasn't privy to it. Mm-hmm. I also had a really weird sports path.
Yeah.
To where I ended up. It was super non-conventional because I was never that guy in anything.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first one to admit I probably lucked into or backed into how I got to where I got to and just kind of took advantage of it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like the door opened and I walked through.
Yeah.
Right? Topic for a whole nother show. But it's also why I'm not exactly like super pro travel stuff because I never did it.
Yeah.
Not like curmudgeonly, like, well, I didn't do it, you shouldn't do it. It's just that I have a different view on. I think kids should play as much as they want when it's fun, to keep it fun. Because eventually it's not going to be fun. Some adult is going to make it shitty.
Yeah. And that's, I know we're getting towards the end here, but I was on one of the baseball coaching sites I'm on, and there was a dad like, how do I get my 6-year-old into this? All he wants to do is play Fortnite. So he wants to play Fortnite because that's the only place where kids can go where there isn't adults telling them what to do. And I watch my boys play Fortnite, and there's all these goofy characters running around, and they're doing whatever, they're building stuff, and then they're shooting each other, and then, they're wearing the skins they have, and people wearing like angel wings and teddy bears, but it's just goofy, fun kid stuff, and there's no adults there saying, this is what you got to do this, do that. And, there are other parents on there and coaches that are saying, oh, well, I tell my boy he has to hit 100 balls off the tee before he can do it. Well, now you just turn it into a job. It's a chore. You have to take the trash out. He's equating playing baseball with taking the trash out. So I told the guy, I explained the Fortnite logic. And I said, you got to make it, I said, look at what you're doing. When he's out there, is he just having fun hitting balls off the tee, goofing around? Or are you out there, elbow up, stay behind the ball, stay connected, blah, 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 blah. Your intentions are good, but it's all he's hearing is you telling him to do shit.
Right.
So you need to think and I do it myself. I find myself, I catch myself.
I do too.
And I'll see the boys out there, and my oldest will have, a T-ball bat, and he's hitting the ball off the tee with the wrong end of it, and I want to be like, stay connected. I'm like, Mike, just let him have fun.
Yeah.
And because of the second it stops being fun, they don't want to do it. Right. And our kids spend so much time in supervised activities, it's our fault. And, they was, all I got to do is our video games. Yeah, because you're not yelling at them. You're not telling them, hey, pie that corner, dog. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, and you do this. I feel like your boys took more to this than my girls do. Your boys just will go outside and do shit.
Yeah.
They'll roam the neighborhood. Not in a bad way,
yeah.
But they'll go knock on doors, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, what are you doing, right? Yeah. Like kids did, when we were.
Yeah.
My girls, not so much. Mm-hmm. That could also be boy-girl thing. Yeah. I don't know. But, I feel like my kids are, want to know if it's okay to go outside.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes. When have I ever told you no to going outside?
Yeah.
I tell you, don't take the dog with you because he's a freaking beast that you can't control.
Right.
But if you want to go outside, go play. We got a yard. Go play in a yard.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, so the other day, I caught her. I'm not going to say I caught her. I'm putting caught in air quotes.
Yeah.
She went out. She took the pitch back. She dragged it out. She's just doing her pitching motion. Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm looking at her going, oh, okay, she's doing some things she shouldn't be doing. I shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because you want to know what? She's out there just doing it.
Yeah.
Because she likes doing it. And cool. If doing that for 10 to 20 minutes is what made you happy and you still enjoy it, I need to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because eventually, if I keep going at them, like you said, then it's a job.
Yeah.
And they're not going to pull it out if I'm going to be like, well, you got to do this or this or that.
Yeah.
She's not going to pull out and have fun with the thing.
Right. And I think as parents and coaches, everything we're doing is well intentioned, and it comes from a good place, but on the receiving end, it's just another adult telling them what to do And to avoid being told what to do, like if every time I come out and hit balls off the tee, the old man comes out and tells me to stay connected, well, I'm going to avoid doing that, so I'm just not going to do it at all.
Yeah.
So, I tell him, hey, try to, I have buckets of baseballs all over the place. Take the bucket out and try to you do the whole bucket, all good rips. Other than that, I don't care. He takes his little brothers out and they're all throwing around, and then it turns into a wiffle ball game with home run derbies and bombs, and then they lose all my wiffle balls, which pisses me off. But it's still, you know what? They're out there, and like the kids from next door, the high school kids, like they'll come over, and they're all out there hitting bombs, and it's fun. And there's no adult around, so it's great for them.
Then you lose more wiffle balls.
Yeah. Especially when the high school kids get a hold of them.
Listen, just put them on subscribe and save on Amazon. just get your weekly or monthly allowance of wiffle balls, and be like, look, when these are gone, they're gone until I get my next delivery. Damn it. Maybe they'll go search for the ones they hit.
Yeah, yeah. Which it's not like they're that far away. Like they're just in the woods over the fence.
Yeah.
Well, it might as well be at the bottom of the ocean. It's right there.
And there's a big whale there. Now I'm going to tell all of you people to go like, subscribe, comment, and share right now. Hey, and while you're here, leave us if you made it this far, leave us a comment. Tell us how shitty you think we are, or tell us how much you love us. Although that would be weird. It's almost like I prefer they tell us we're shitty.
Yeah,
like I've seen fanboys out there. I don't want any of them because it's creepy.
Shitty comments are still comments.
They are comments. They help us with the algorithm, whatever the fuck that means. No, but if you like the show, let us know. Appreciate at MD Ravens on Twitter for bringing up this topic. If you have a topic you want us to talk about, shoot me a private message on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Contact at Driveway Beers Podcast, wherever else, all the places,
all the things.
And let us know what you want to talk about. I want to thank Adam Chubbuck with TACMD.com. If you were going to be on the real estate market in any capacity, go to TACMD.com. That's TACMD.com. Book your appointment with Adam, and we will talk to you next week.